Good morning, folks. I know I look like I've just been dragged through a hedge, and that's because I've just got out of bed. Um, and I thought, rather than waiting, till I come up with something really amazing, I'm just going to offer some tapping. And this is tapping on the shock of the system under which we're now living, the situation we find ourselves in. So, tapping on the side of your hand. So even though I can't believe what's happened, it's so hard to understand the sudden changes that have had to happen in our country. It's such a shock. Who could ever have predicted this? Something we never expected to happen. And right now, we can choose to be calm, shoulders down, and relaxed. So even though it was a real surprise to get a text from the government telling me what to do and what not to do, even though I don't like being told what to do, my freedom's really important to me. This is a real shock. I can choose to stay calm and relaxed. So even though it's quite a shock, it's taken me by surprise, it's only just starting to sink in what it might all mean. I can still choose to stay calm and relaxed. Okay, top of the head. All the shock. Eyebrow. I can't believe what's happening. Outside edge of your eye. It's only just beginning to sink in. I don't like having my freedom curtailed. I don't like having to stop all the things I'm used to doing. I'm feeling a bit scared about the space that I'm going to have to live in. How am I going to manage stuck at home? What am I going to do with the children? We can't all be cooped up together like this. This is going to drive me mad. What am I going to do with all my time? I can't believe this is happening. This is such a shock. I can't believe this is happening in our country. I can't believe this is happening all over the world. I don't like what's happening. I don't like what's happening in our world. I don't like all this change. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this time. It's such a shock. It was a real surprise to get that text from the government. I can't believe what we've been told. Is this really happening? Is this really true? Take a gentle breath. Now, I'm using a selection of words and thoughts that people might be feeling and you might not. And the thing is to use your words and what's going on for you. And I'm aware that some people will be relieved now that the government's taken this action and has got us all tucked up inside. And that's fine. You may not need to tap on any of this, but for some people it will be a shock as it gradually sinks in the reality of what's being asked of us. So let's have another round on some of those things. So even though I can't believe what's happening, life as I knew it has suddenly stopped. Nothing feels the same anymore. And it worries me and I feel shocked. But I can still choose to be calm and relaxed. So even though all these scary things are happening right across the world, I can't believe what's happened in this country. It feels such a shock. It's only just beginning to sink in. And I can choose to be calm and relaxed. So even though getting that text from the government was a shock, hearing Boris Johnson talk on the television telling us what we have to do was quite shocking. Oh, I can still choose to be calm and relaxed. So even though all of these things that are happening on our planet were so unexpected, I didn't see this coming. This is not how I expected to be spending March and April. I don't know how I'm going to get through this time. I don't like having my freedom curtailed. I don't know what I'm going to do stuck at home. And I can still choose to be calm and relaxed. I don't know how I'm going to get through this time. It's just sinking in what it actually means. I'm going to have to queue outside the supermarket. It was such a shock seeing all those empty shelves. Such a shock watching Boris Johnson talk on the television and telling us what we've got to do. It's such a shock seeing the adverts from the medical officer telling us what we have to do. It's such a shock. All this shock in my body. And I'm just going to keep tapping. Just keep tapping with him. I'm going to tell you a few things about shock. So, when something shocking happens to us, in that moment, it hits us. And some of us will know that feeling. It's like, so there's one thing that happens. It can take our breath away. And we have what's called a freeze response. So it's like part of us gets stuck in that moment of shock. And that's what we need to release. The stuck shock. And I see this with some of my clients, and I know I experienced it myself when I got given a diagnosis. And it can be a real shock. And we need to release that shock from our body, or else it can do us harm. So you need to think about that. Has this affected you like a shock? Like getting a diagnosis? Because really, that's what's happened. We've been given a diagnosis. This is the state of the country. This is what has to happen to deal with it. Here's the prognosis as best they can give it. Nothing's ever certain. So even though I've had this shocking news, I choose to be calm and relaxed. I choose to release all the shock from my body. I choose to let go of the shock. And maybe it's not easy to let go of the shock, and you might have to keep tapping. And you can just keep tapping on whatever it is that you're telling yourself, whatever it is that you're feeling. And that's what you're feeling emotionally. You might be frightened. You might have gone into overdrive. You might be behaving in a bit of a manic way. You might be in a big slump. You might be feeling angry. So whatever the feeling is that you're having, acknowledge the feeling and check in. Where are you feeling it in your body? I've been feeling my whole body in a kind of state of agitation on and off. And I happen to know that means I've got too much cortisol coursing through my system. And so I'm choosing to do things that help me calm down and help me to be more relaxed. So tap through your points. Hopefully they're becoming quite familiar by now. Focusing on what you're feeling, where you're feeling it in your body, how intensely you're feeling it. And depending on that intensity, allow yourself to express whatever it is. For some people, a rage might come up. So rant and tap, literally. Tap round the points and let yourself have the rant. But for some people, they might be being triggered into some kind of grief. So just keep tapping, because the tapping has been shown in scientific research to lower the levels of cortisol in our blood. And that is one of the really, really important things we need to be doing just now. Because cortisol is a stress hormone. So anything we can do to reduce that is going to be helpful for all of us, every single person. Okay, that's the morning tap over. I can go and get on with my meditation. I'll see you again soon. Bye.